let's get started. So my name is Eric Ness, and I'm with the Small Business Administration. We're going to do just a few updates of what's going on with the SBA. First off, since we touched so many businesses, we wanted just to kind of give you a heads up of what did happen in Wisconsin last year, so you can see the amount of loans and businesses that we have worked with. About 245,232 loans for over $18 billion in the state of Wisconsin last year. As you know, we are still working through EIDL loans, but all the other, but we aren't taking any new applications. So that's kind of a rundown of kind of what happened during the COVID relief program with the SBA. You can also see we had restaurant revitalization funds and shuttered venue funds. See the amount of dollars that went out. So yeah, totally over $18 billion just in our state. What I wanted to share too is what happened in our regular programs, because we're going to talk a little bit about those today, our 7A, 504, and microloans. As you see, last year we did over $1 billion in our regular lending programs, and that's more than we've ever done in the history of SBA, just our regular programs. You can see that 475 of those loans went to startup business last year, our loans to veterans and our loans to women. You can kind of see where we are in those categories. So we really want to focus on what's going on with our programs, kind of an update of why and how you can access the programs. So let's take a look at the next slide. So our regular 7A program, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, is our loan programs that can go up to $5 million. We can guarantee 85% up to $150,000 and 75% over $150,000. The maturities are great because they're longer than you would typically get with a local lender. So you can see 5 to 10 years for working capital. Usually we go useful life on machinery and equipment, and up to 25 years in real estate. So that's kind of a rundown of what the program is. You also see that what is a small business? Most businesses are small, but here's one definition: $15 million tangible net worth, $5 million net profits over the last 2 years. Now, one thing that's really important to know is during last year, we were paying the fees upfront and ongoing fees on all of our programs, or all of our 7A programs. Right now, we've changed that where we're paying the upfront fees and the ongoing fees on our loans up to $350,000. So you can get loans up to $5 million, but we're paying the upfront fees and ongoing fees on all loans $350,000 or less. Very good. Something you should notate as you're looking forward to getting financing. That also includes our express loans. Now, our express program is kind of our line of credit program where we work through the local lender. We can do up to 50% guarantee. We can have loans up to $500,000, and it can be used as a line of credit. Important to note, the loans up to $350,000, as I stated last slide, we are paying the fees upfront and ongoing fees. Now, if you're a veteran, we will pay the upfront fees up to $500,000. So something to kind of think about as you're looking for funding options going forward. I wanted to mention Community Advantage because we talked about banks and credit unions as a way to be able to get financing. We also have something called the Community Advantage program, where we use community-based mission-focused lenders, CDFIs, CDCs, and microlenders. This program, you can have a maximum loan size of $250,000, and we have a guarantee of $85,000 up to $150,000 and $75,000 or 75% up to $250,000. You can see the approval times. Basically, what we should also remember is, remember I talked about the fees being paid for loans up to $350,000. So that's also true for this program. So your upfront fees from the SBA will be paid by the SBA for this program and the ongoing fees. And just to look at some of the community advantage lenders in the state, we're going to hear from First American Capital in just a few moments. We have Legacy Redevelopment, Milwaukee Economic Development Corporation, and Wisconsin Business Initiative Corporation. Also, we have 504 loans. These are typically larger deals or fixed asset financing where we can do 50%, usually comes from a local lender, 40% comes from the SBA through a certified development company, and then 10% from equity. Typically, these are fixed assets, so equipment, buildings, real estate, and basically we're trying to match the maturity. What we do is on our 40%, we actually sell a bond with the government guarantee on it. So the interest rates are very good, and they're fixed for if you have a 10-year maturity, 10 years. If you're doing mostly real estate or buildings, we can do 20 to 25 years. So we've seen a lot of businesses going 25 years and getting that fixed rates at that low interest rate. And we can do refinancing with this program. And as you see, there is a job requirement, but that is reduced for rural areas. Our next program is our SBA Microloan Program. And the way that works is we lend money to our micro lenders and they re-lend it out. So they can do loans up to $50,000 to a small business. That you work with your local intermediary on that. And so it's a loan right from the intermediary. We've changed it. So historically, the maturity was at 6 years. Now we've increased it to 7 years. You can see the uses can purchase equipment, fixtures, working capital, leasehold improvements, and increased receivables. And the average microloans are around $13,000. You can see our micro lenders in the state. We have 2 statewide, and First American Capital who we'll hear from is statewide. We have the Entrepreneurship Fund. We have AvoCap, Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation, which is statewide, CAP Services, and Northwest Regional Planning Commission. So you can see we have a number of lenders around the state. Lender Match is a program we have on SBA.gov to be able to try to find a lender. You can actually put in your information, answer about 10 questions, and you'll get matched up with a lender. We do have surety bond program also out there. And surety bonds is that when you're getting those government contracts, if you can't get a contract as a small business, you can actually get a guaranteed surety bond through the SBA, where we will help you and assist you in getting that surety bond. And basically what you can do is you get our guarantee for maybe the first couple, and then after you've got that experience built up with that insurance company, you can maybe go without us, but it's a program that exists and that you can utilize. I wanted to do a quick slide on the contracting program just because there's some major changes in it. As you can see, the goals for contracting for our small business is 23, small disadvantage, which is our 8A is 5%, service disabled veteran owned is 3%, women owned small business 5%, and hub zone is 3%. What I want to really mention is the National Defense Authorization Act made a change, and these changes are dramatic. As you'll see, it raises the government-wide small business contracting goal up to 25%. It raises our service-disabled veteran-owned small business and hub zone to 4%, and a gradual increase on our small disadvantaged business, which is also a part of our 8A, to 15%. Remember when we talked about it on the previous slide, that was 5%. Now this change is going to go in gradually, but will be in place fully at 15% by fiscal 25. And then also an increase on women-owned small business goal is to 7%. So those are kind of some big things that I want you to know about as you're planning your business. So these are going to be huge changes. The government's going to need a lot of businesses in these areas to make those goals. With that, you can stay in touch with the SBA. This PowerPoint will be available to you. And if you're having questions, Tammy Clendenning is in our shop. We will have a booth at our event, and we will be there tomorrow. So look forward to If you want more information, make sure you stop by our booth. And now I'm going to turn it over to Rick to say, and interesting, First American Capital is one of our SBA micro lenders, as you saw, one of our SBA Community Advantage lenders. I think they're the only Native American entity in the nation that has those two designations, and they are also a navigator. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rick. Rick?
Yes, good morning. Hi, my name is Rick Zawacki. I am a loan officer at FACC, First American Capital Corporation. And today I'm going to talk about our loan products, a little bit about us as far as the lending side. Let me get the slide up here. All right. Again, my name is Rick Zawacki. I'm with First American Capital Corporation. We are a Wisconsin CDFI lender, community development financial institution. And so where we come in is on the actual lending side. I'm going to do a highlight here of our products that we offer. First is our fast track loans. So smaller loans under $20,000. These are things we can move a little quicker on. So if you need to kind of do a smaller project or something like that, we're able to do those a little bit on an expedited basis. The SBA Microloans, Eric highlighted that. Those are going to be up to $50,000, and that's a product that definitely helps in the DBE area that we're talking about today. Basically, we offer loans between about $5,000 to about $250,000. When you're $5,000 or less, we have a partner Kiva, which is a crowdfunding source, which would be for getting started, 0% interest. That's more of a, kind of get your feet wet and get the business going type of thing. So when you become a client of us, one of the things that we do offer is pre and post loan technical assistance. And that'll be discussed later in the session. And then one of the last things I want to talk about is contract financing. That's, when you have won that job and you need financing specifically for that. And I'll kind of go into a little more detail on the following slide. Some of the typical loan requirements, every lender has their own requirements that they have, but this is a general synopsis of what we're looking for the contract financing. That would be that completed contract with amendments, change orders, revisions, and so forth. Financial statements on the business, so your balance sheets, your profit and loss, so you can see how you're doing. If we're doing a startup type business, then we're looking at projections, preferably about 3 years of projections, a business plan, kind of tell us where you're looking to go. Tax returns, typically 3 years business and personal, a personal financial statement, an operating budget, cash flow estimate. Again, that's could be the projections if you're looking at a new startup. And then we do require a loan application. So specifically on the contract financing, so you got the job, you won that contract. So we're going to be able to step in and help with the labor, fringe payments, if it's a union contract, materials, etc. And then we're going to get repaid when you get the receivable, when you get paid on that job. So that's going to be specific to this job that we're going to focus on. And then we can Bill, a little bit later, we'll probably talk a little bit more in the detail of that specific to what we're talking about today. So if you need money for that project, what we're looking for is the details of that contract. And you can demonstrate that you can perform on that contract, with time and budgeting and so forth. And, the logic behind it, and, how we'll pay it back, the time frame for that receivable and so forth. This is general look at the sizes and loans that we do. So, the contract financing, as I discussed, working capital is a big portion of that. And then purchasing, those fixed assets, vehicles, equipment, whatever you may need. And then obviously, we do startups. So being a CDFI, we're able to kind of step in there where maybe the traditional banks won't. So, we're really here to kind of get you going when you're not able to get that in some of your traditional lending institutions. And then we are a statewide, this little breakdown of kind of, where we typically do portions of our business, but we're full statewide, and we're here to help any way we can. And if you got any questions, you can just give us a call or shoot us an email, and we would love to hear from you. And from here, I'd like to turn it over to Teresa from Wisconsin Department of Transportation. And let me stop sharing.
All right, thank you, Rick. Good morning, everyone. Hi, this is Teresa Rademacher. I've been with WisDOT OBOT compliance for over 10 years. I've been a compliance specialist on mega and major WisDOT highway projects. I was on the compliance investigations team, and I've recently moved to a compliance analyst position. So you may be asking, what is WisDOT compliance? So in compliance, we make sure that contractors working on WisDOT projects, that they meet all the state and federal requirements, such as Davis-Bacon, equal employment opportunity, et cetera. There's, quite a bit that we oversee and make sure that the contractors are doing what they're supposed to according to the state and federal laws. But today I'll be talking about prompt payment, which would come into effect when a contractor, receives or when a contractor begins working on a WisDOT project. So I will share my screen here. So one of the contract provisions, it's an additional special provision which is prompt payment. And this is in all of WisDOT highway construction projects, whether they're federally funded or state funded projects. So this is, the special provision is in the contract. So there is some built-in protection for contractors working on WisDOT projects, and that's what this prompt payment contract provision does provide some of that protection. So ASP4, the first is the payment to first tier subcontractors. So when when WisDOT pays the prime has 10 days to pay first tier subs. Then those first tier subs have 10 days from when they get paid to pay their subs, and so on. So there is, a flow down of when payments have to be received by contractors working on the project. So one thing that changed recently is the prime contractor is not allowed to withhold retainage from payments due to subcontractors anymore. Anything let after December of 2020 there's no more retainage. Therefore, once a contractor receives payment, they should make full payment to all subs unless they have just cause to withhold that payment. The issue was that small subcontractors, really any subcontractor, could end up waiting years to be paid the retainage if it was a long project where, you know, it was a year or more before the prime was paid out by WisDOT, their retainage. So, and then that trickle of the payment of retainage to down to lower levels. So WisDOT worked with FHWA, and again, anything led after December of 2020, there is no longer any retainage. So payment to lower tier subcontractors. So part of ASP4 is ensuring that the subcontracting agreement at all tiers provide prompt payment rights to lower tier subcontractors that parallel those granted the first tiers. So this payment protection and timelines, they need to be passed down in subcontracts, and any contractor that hires another contractor has to ensure that this prompt payment happens at all tiers. So if you get awarded work, on a WisDOT project, or you're working on a WisDOT project and there's a payment issue, your first attempt to resolve an issue is between you and whoever hired you, and if you're a first tier subcontractor, it would be you and the prime. So WisDOT's contract is with the prime only, and then the prime is responsible for all the subcontractors. So if you're a first tier, if you feel comfortable, contact the prime before contacting WisDOT. If the issue remains unresolved, inform WisDOT project staff. We have had, where potentially maybe a smaller contractor or, even any size contractor where, they don't maybe not feel comfortable going directly to the prime. They want to ensure that a relationship, and so they can contact a compliance specialist in the state, and then we would be able to contact that prime or contact that contractor, not mention any names, and just say, hey, are you meeting all of the requirements for prompt payment? Please be sure that you do that. So that's one mechanism to help if there is a prompt payment issue if you're working on a WisDOT project. Excuse me. So this provision doesn't limit the right of the department or the prime or sub at any tier to withhold payment for work not acceptably completed or work subject to an unresolved contract dispute. But it does provide protection that a payment will not be arbitrarily withheld. There has to be a reason. Got a tickle in my throat there. So one thing I wanted to also add, it's not, within ASP4, it's not really a prompt payment, issue, but if you're a supplier and you, win the bid to supply items to a project, that the prime can be paid for stockpiles of materials, once the materials are delivered to the project site and the materials meet, all the certification requirements, that, WisDOT will pay the prime for that material prior to it being incorporated into the project. So suppliers, would not need to wait for payment until the material is incorporated into the project, as long as those certification requirements are met. So that's all I have from the WisDOT side as far as, receiving payment. I have had contractors, tell me that they do like working on WisDOT projects because of this, excuse me, this prompt payment. There is some protection, some or call it like guarantee that, that the prime's going to get paid by WisDOT. A contractor can see when that prime gets paid, gets an estimate paid for, the work that's been done in that time period. And then they know that they can expect to see their payments from either the prime or, whoever hired them. So that's all I have for prompt payment. And then I will have my contact information in this presentation. And I know there was a question in the chat about, emailing the presentations. And Gary, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that, but I think we can add our presentations right to this session. And, I don't know if we can email them also, but just wanted to bring that up because I did see it in the chat before.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
We'll be emailing.
All right. That's all I have then. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I would like to turn it over to Bill next.
Thanks, Teresa. Let me share my presentation here. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Bill Beeson. I'm the co-executive director of First American Capital Corporation and the director of lending, co-executive director with my colleague Gary, who is our moderator session, our session moderator today, rather. So I've been a past DBE contractor for about 20 years, so I'm very familiar with the challenges of the DBE workspace and just the challenges that go with being a DBE contractor. So I'm fortunate to be able to sit on both sides of the table. So we're excited to talk to you today about the WisDOT Loan Mobilization Program. It's not a new program, but I think we're going to take a different approach to it and get it utilized in the field as much as possible. A little bit more about me, besides being a DBE contractor for a long time. I was former CEO of my tribe's Business Development Corp, which is the Lac-du-Flambeau tribe up in northern Wisconsin. I sit on the DBE stakeholder committee, the business committee. I just want to make a comment, that all the people that are on the stakeholder committee meetings, there's really, I want to say it's much more than a moment. We're really seeing a movement as far as trying to increase DBE participation. That's encouraging this pulling for you. Like I said, I've been in this industry a long time. This one is a little bit unique. So the DBE Loan Mobilization Program was created in 1987 by Wisconsin Act 399. It's, I think the department would tell you as well, it's been underutilized. So the program was formed 5 years after the DBE program was established. Probably, they result as a result of realizing that especially the smaller DBEs need working capital to perform these contracts. So it's designed to designed to assist firms obtain working capital to participate and perform on transportation-related construction projects. Again, it is a loan, not a grant. The working capital loan is to be used to successfully complete the contract. So it's not for you to go buy a skid steer, that you're going to use the next 5 to 7 years on several projects. It's related specifically to the project, and we'll get more into the elements on it, but I just want to give a little background on the program. This slide here just shows the contact information. American Indian Chamber of Commerce, our moderator Gary, is acting as the business development organization. First American Capital Corp, in the agreement of WisDOT, is called the contractor here. Contractor would be synonymous with lender in this program. So the program elements of it. All WisDOT certified DBE firms are potentially eligible. Each loan is collateralized by a single WisDOT contractor or subcontractor. So remember, this is working capital loans. Working capital loans are often very difficult to collateralize. So the collateral in this particular case would be the contract proceeds. We can guarantee up to 90% of the loan. That's our goal, is to get to a 90%. The program parameters have a 75 to 90% guarantee. in every case, we're going to really try and get to the 90%, because if you've got an established relationship with your lender, they're just not really comfortable with it. They want to help, but if we can give them that 90% guarantee, maybe that pushes them over to get to a yes. If you don't have an established relationship with a lender, that's where First American Capital Corp comes in. As the contractor on this, we can also lend you the money to do this project as well. You'd heard Rick talk about contract financing a little bit, about the access to capital. And the reason we had Rick talk about that, because it's very similar to this program. The loan mobilization program is really an extension of our existing contractor credit services, but this is a new program where the guarantee comes into it. So up to the 50% of the contract amount. So if you've got a $100,000 contract, you can borrow up to 50% of the contract, meaning $50,000 here. You do need to be a certified DBE, demonstrated ability to perform the work, contract or subcontract. So I guess why that is asterisk is we want to make sure that you make a profit on the project. There's no doubt about that. Because as contractors, you probably know it takes money to make money, and that's just the way it is. You can't work efficiently if you don't have working capital. When we look at an applicant that's interested in using this program, we certainly encourage you to do that. But we want to look at it. We want to make sure that you didn't buy the job. And when I say buy the job, if the other bidders were at 200,000 and you're at 100,000, there's probably no irregularity with your bid. So that's what we mean, demonstrated ability to perform the work, because we got to get paid back. It is a grant, and when we get paid back, we can help the next DBE contractor. Term of the loan is 6 months, can be extended upon request another 6 months. So this is going to be probably very relevant on some of the projects that were talked about earlier. They're not going to be concluded in 6 months. In that case, we'll extend it to match the term of your work requirement. If you're on the project from day one all the way to the end, we'll have to really look at that, work with the department on, how do we extend them loan terms. But just know that, when 6 months is up and your contract is still going on, we can extend these. Loan proceeds, working capital necessary to commence and fulfill contractual requirements. So, we all know, but in Teresa's presentation was very relevant to this, because in the old days, from when I recall it, there was retainage held, and oftentimes retainage can be your profit on the project. And like Teresa said, if you got a long-term project, which we've seen many of them out here, 2-3 years, and if your profit is tied up there, it's very difficult for you to perform new work, because you need working capital to do your new work. Progress payments are issued to the lender and the DBE. So this would be a joint check agreement. So again, the collateral of these loans is the contract proceeds. Therefore, the requirement of the program is progress payments need to be issued as joint checks payable to the DBE contractor and the lender. Going back to what I mentioned earlier, if you've already got a borrowing relationship established with your lender, that's great. Certainly inform them, about the guarantees here, but any Wisconsin bank can participate, a credit union, savings loan if they're still around, or a qualified community development financial institution. First American Capital Corp is a community development financial institution, CDFI for short. So again, if you don't have a lending relationship established, talk to us. Let's see if we can help you out with that project. Program elements continued. Okay, so going back into the roles and responsibilities, as I mentioned, the American Indian Chamber of Commerce here is the business development organization. First American Capital Corp is the contractor, meaning the lender. So where the chamber is going to come in here, they're going to be your liaison. They're going to communicate with the department, if necessary, the prime contractor. They're really going to take a look at your contract, look at your bid, say, okay, let's help you determine what your project's cash and operating budgets look like, because we need to know what, when we're going to get paid back. For example, if you've got a 6-month project, and we use nice round numbers, $60,000, you're going to get paid $10,000 a month over 6 months. That's how it'll be paid back. It never works out that way. We all know that. But the Chamber's duties here and responsibilities are really to help you understand the project cash flow. And, from the lender standpoint, that's where we come into. And we kind of really work on the project as a team to make sure to get you the capital that you need to perform the contract. WisDOT Consultant, meaning First American Capital Corp, monitor payments to the lending institution. So this is where First American Capital Corp, we're going to know what the payment schedule is. And, in WisDOT, the payment terms are relatively pretty quick. When you compare that to vertical construction and other markets, payments there can oftentimes lag 60, 90 days or more. WisDOT's payment practices are much better. But, if we run into an issue, we're saying, okay, the sub should have received this payment, what's going on? So that's where we work with the department and, we collaborate with them, get to the bottom, what's the problem, and really try and get the thing corrected. The point here in red, communications, that says it all, because that is essential to the success of this. How difficult things are in the field. Things come up, things come up in the back office just as often. So communicating with not only First American Capital Corp or the Chamber, as the consultant, the DBE Support Services Office, that there's a lot of help out there for you. And it's really about that communication is collaborating. We're excited about this program because we think it's been far underutilized. We think, with what's coming down the pike, with more opportunities for DBE contractors, again, going back to, in construction and even from the consultant basis, I know oftentimes you have to hire up for a project. It takes money to make money. So that's what we're here for, to help you perform them contracts and grow your organization so you can be members of the transportation economy. Testimonials. These are all great testimonials, but the one I want to highlight on this one, and I couldn't have said it better myself, is from Paul Fairley, Community Bank of Trust. Construction firms are difficult to finance because of repayment and timing of the cash flows. That says it all right there. Another testimonials, two testimonials, one that I see here, I want to point out the Marquette Energy project. That was a long time ago, folks. We got some new projects coming down the pike, mega projects. So again, we're excited to be part of this process with the loan mobilization program. We think it can make a significant impact in the DBE community and really help DBE contractors grow. Then there's opportunities for new DBE contractors. I know there are several new DBE contractors in the audience, we noticed earlier. But again, we're here to help, and certainly contact any one of us, and we'll see what we can do to get you through. For more information, again, here's our contact information. In a session a little bit later this morning, I'm going to be presenting this again, and it ties into our technical systems component, because I think the loan mobilization program has the ability to make a significant impact. So that's kind of why we're being a little bit selfless, and we're promoting this program twice this morning. So thank you for your time.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, all the panelists. Remind you that in the chat box, you're welcome to type in a question. Several people have asked for the PowerPoint. Again, if you give us your email, we'll certainly send that forward. There are a couple offline questions, and we'll take those. I'll just speak to them. And also, you just saw the survey link come up, and we do ask you before leaving the session to click on that, complete the survey. It takes about a minute, but it's highly valuable for WisDOT conference organizers and the panelists. So I'm going to read off a couple questions here. Rick, you're still there? So Rick, can you talk a little bit about, as a CDFI and SBA microlender, how does FACC provide technical assistance or development services to help prospective borrowers really prepare to qualify for that loan?
Let me pull up a slide, and I will speak to.
You have to unmute, Rick.
Am I there? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Rick.
Okay, we're having a little.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can't hear you, Rick. So, Bill, do you mind taking that question?
Go ahead.
Okay, so just addressing technical assistance about preparing for the loan for prospective borrowers for FAC.
Sure. I can speak to that a little bit. I know Rick was having some technical difficulties with the online platform, but I just saw him come into the background here. But we know, especially from startup contractors, your back office operations may not be as sophisticated as you want them right now. They'll get there. But we understand that. That's why we help you prepare, your cash and operating budgets to see how much money you're going to make on there. Sales, they create assets. It creates accounts receivable. It's profit, which creates equity. So, that's our goal, is for you to increase your equity and hold on to as much profit as possible. As part of that pre-loan technical assistance that we give, that's critical, because oftentimes, if you go to, this is where CDFIs are a little bit different. If you go to a conventional bank and so you want to borrow some money, because they're so regulated, maybe the deal's a little bit too small, maybe the deal's a little bit too risky. That's where CDFIs come in, because our capital also comes with the coaching, which is I'm going to talk about in our next session, because that helps us ensure repayment, but it also helps our loan client too. They got a million things to do, including running the field, collecting work, you name it. So that's where our technical assistance comes in. That's why we think we're uniquely qualified for the loan program. Does that answer your question, Gary?
Thank you.
And I'd just like to throw in a quick comment too, is we are part of the American Indian Chamber of Commerce, but as a CDFI, we're open to all potential clients. So, but specifically, in the DBE, so you're women, minorities, something like that. But I just want to make it clear that we're here. We're for the community development. So that's why we're here. So just want to make a point. Gary?
Good point. Equal opportunity provided.
Absolutely.
Eric, we noticed there's some chambers of commerce in the audience and representatives of some Native nations. You touched on issues, including contracting. Are Wisconsin SBA staff available for presentations around the state?
Yeah, they are. And in fact, we'll be there tomorrow. But yes, we are there for presentations. Also, I wanted to highlight kind of the Navigator program, where we're actually empowering First American Capital and a lot of other entities around the state to try to get information out. I do think that this is a pivotal time. I mean, we've got the great financing programs. We're paying the fees up to $350,000. So take a look at that. But from a federal contracting standpoint, there is some, as I pointed out, some major changes where goals are going way up for small disadvantaged businesses, all of our different categories, women, veterans, service disabled veterans, and hub zones. So take a look, another look at the government contracting area, because I think that there's going to be a lot more opportunities. Our folks are available. I think I have Jim Struby at the event tomorrow. He's one of our contracting officers. So if you want to talk to him, have some questions about it, make sure, or also, just email us and we will have an online meeting with you. We are starting to go out and do more visits too. So this is all the start of the process of kind of changing over. So yes, we are available. Let us know, and we'd love to be a part of your events.
That's awesome. And Eric, could you just briefly mention WPI and that interface with Wisconsin Procurement Institute?
Right. So basically, and great catch, because one of our great partners is Wisconsin Procurement Institute, WPI. And the way they work is they are actually funded by the Department of Defense to try to help for WPI, Wisconsin small businesses be in a place where they can work with and do federal contracting. So they're a wonderful resource to work with if you're looking at getting into contracting, or if you're in contracting and want to kind of grow and have some questions. They can help you through the process. They do a number of training sessions around the state, and they do one-on-one work too. So a great opportunity. We work heavily in connection with them, with our programs, and then of course us having two ex-contracting officers on our staff also can give some advice as you're running into questions or issues working on different contracts.
Perfect. So, and then there's one more question, and then I do want to remind you, Chris, just put the survey link up again. Simply click on that, and it's about a minute to get your opinions and recommendations for the conference organizers. And Teresa, one quick question, sort of in that grievance procedure slide, you mentioned contact, WisDOT representative. Is there a point of contact that generally is recommended, or is it, what do you suggest?
There is compliance specialists throughout the state. So what I would look at is contacting the compliance specialist that has been assigned, to the project that you're working on. And we have CRCS, which is an electronic payroll payment monitoring system. And within CRCS, you can find out the name of the compliance specialist. Otherwise, I will add the link to my presentation too. Otherwise, it's out on the HCCI site, which is WisDOT's public internet site for highway construction contracting information. I'll add that link also. But yes, there are compliance specialists throughout the state that are assigned to specific projects. And you can find out that information, again, through CRCS, or even if you contact me, I can, find out who is assigned to that project also. Does that answer your question, Gary? Or
Perfect. Thank you, Teresa. So we have 6 minutes left in the session. I don't see any additional questions. We do ask you to complete the survey for the eval, and we're going to excuse ourselves a little early and maybe get a cup of coffee before the next session. Just so you know, at 11 in this track, the business track, we will be having 4 panelists going more in depth on available no-cost technical assistance for qualifying for business loans, as well as 2 specialists who are DBE consultants in the support services area, who will also talk about their no-cost services for certified DBEs and prospective DBEs. So with that, we thank you for your attention and time. You know how to reach us, I believe, if you have any additional questions, and we will certainly send those PowerPoints out to those who requested it. So again, any last question, any last comment from the audience? Very well, we answer all the questions. So please fill out your survey and have a great rest of the conference, and we hope to see you in person tomorrow.